ॐ वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतङ्गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Let us offer our salutations to Lord Krishna, the embodiment of bliss, who came to establish dharma and punish the wicked. Let us pray to him to lead us from unreal to real, to lead us from darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. Bhagavad Gita, we are studying chapter 10, the yoga of divine manifestations. The Divine Supreme incarnates himself whenever there is need, when the people in large scale are going in a very bad way, not to restore dharma, the Supreme Divine incarnates himself. He gives the guidance for the people to take up spiritual path, and he also punishes those who are indulging in bad practices, bad behavior, and so on. In so many ways, God punishes people who commit blunders. Lord Krishna has made a law that whoever does any action must have to reap the result of his action, whether good or bad. If you have done a good action, you will reap the good result. If bad, you will get the bad result. It's a universal law. None can escape. So, and there are so many ways of punishing people. But people should realize the sufferings are coming because of my own misdeeds. That realization should come. When that comes, then the door to spiritual path opens up. So, we have to take sufferings in a positive way. Then it helps us to awaken ourselves to reality. Here Arjuna was in great depression, great confusion about what's to be done, what not to be done. But he had one wonderful quality. It completely relied upon Krishna and took complete refuge in him, surrendered to him wholeheartedly, and he was prepared to do whatever the Lord Krishna says. Krishna was very happy to have such a wonderful disciple. So he disclosed everything about the creation, about his glory, everything, whatever that is. So, verse number 19, Sri Bhagavan Vacha, Antate Katayishyami Divyāhyātmi Bhūtayaha Pradhānvidaha Kurushreshta Nastyanto Vistarasya Me. Lord Krishna said to Arjuna, O Arjuna, I will tell you my divine glories in their prominence. It tells further, there is no end to their detailed description. God's glories are infinite. His manifestations are infinite. But still, some prominent manifestations, Sri Krishna tells Arjuna. The idea is, any manifestation of the divine can be taken for worship and proceed with spiritual path. So, God is giving infinite opportunities, infinite ways to reach Him. At the outset He says, don't be fanatical, don't criticize others, don't worry about how many millions of gods are there, why should there be so many gods. Ask nonsense questions, stop asking. Hold on to God which you believe and go ahead till you realize the truth. Don't waste your time in unnecessary interfering in others' affairs. So, Sri Ramakrishna also tells the same point in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. How Lord Divine Supreme's powers are infinite. He says to Ishan, Sri Ramakrishna says to him, why do you waste your time simply repeating Neti, 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 etc.? Nothing whatsoever can be specified about Brahman except that it exists. Whatever we see or think about is a manifestation of the glory of the primordial energy. God is that power. The primal consciousness, creation, preservation and destruction, living beings and the universe, and further meditation and the meditator, bhakti and prema, all these are manifestations of the glory of that power, of the divine power. Brahman is identical with its power. On returning from Ceylon, Hanuman praised Rama, saying, O Ram, you are the Supreme Brahman, and Sita is your Shakti. You and she are identical. Brahman and Shakti are like the snake and its wriggling motion. Thinking of the snake, one must think of its wriggling motion, and thinking of its wriggling motion, one must think of the snake. Or they are like milk and its whiteness. Thinking of milk, one has to think of its color, its whiteness, and thinking of the whiteness of milk, one has to think of milk itself. Or they are like water and its wetness. Thinking of water, one has to think of its wetness, and thinking of the wetness of water, one has to think of water. Sri Ramakrishna explains all the subtle spiritual ideas in a very simple way so that everybody can understand and take spiritual path. Sri Ramakrishna says further, this primal power, Mahamaya, has covered Brahman. As soon as the covering is withdrawn, one realizes, I am what I was before. I am thou, thou art I. As long as that covering remains, the Vedantic formula, I am he, that is, man is the Supreme Brahman, does not rightly apply. The wave is part of the water, but the water is not part of the wave. As long as that covering remains, one should call on God as Mother. Addressing God, the devotee should say, you are the mother, I am your child. You are the master, I am your servant. It is good to have the attitude of the servant toward the master. From this relationship of master and servant spring up other attitudes. The attitude of serene love for God, the attitude of friend towards friend, and so forth. When the master loves his servant, he may say to him, "Come on, sit by my side." And there is no difference between you and me. But if the servant comes forward of his own will to sit by the master, will not the master be angry? God's play on earth as an incarnation is a manifestation of the glory of the Chit Shakti, the divine power. That which is Brahman is also Rama, Krishna and Shiva. How nicely Sri Ramakrishna explains the divine glory of the Supreme. So, the specific purpose of God's taking incarnation is to help us to move in a spiritual way. He is helping us to play well in this world. Verse number 20. Aham atma gudakesha sarvabhutasha sthita aham adishcha madhyancha bhutana mante evacha. I am the self, O Gudakesha, seated in the hearts of all beings. I am the beginning, the middle and also the end of all beings. Gudakesha means the conqueror of sleep. That is, he who has conquered sleep, drowsiness, alasya, pramada, moha, they are all offspring of sleep. He who has control over them will become qualified to know about Vibhuti Yoga. If you are lazy, if you are not active enough, if you are not showing sufficient interest, then you will not be qualified to know about Vibhuti Yoga. The Lord says that He is dwelling in the hearts of all beings. He is the birth, the life and the death of all beings. So the spiritual aspirant should think of Him as the innermost self. God is dwelling in our own heart. In the Upanishad it is said, it is shining like a jyoti. It is ever shining in the heart. When a person dies, the jyoti leaves the body and goes. That's the meaning of death. Gross body drops off, but the jyoti leaves the body and goes. That jyoti is the Atman of the individual being. It's also called a soul. That means it leaves this gross body and goes with the subtle body, mind, to take up another body. So like that the journey continues. Verse number 21. Adityanamaham Vishnu Jyotisham Raviram Shaman Marichir Marutamasmi Nakshatra Shashi. Lord Krishna says, among the 12 Adityas, I am Vishnu. Among the luminaries, the radiant sun. I am Marichi among the 7 Maruts. Among stars, I am the moon. He is just pointing out his important manifestations in this universe. The whole of the manifested universe is nothing but the glory of Ishvara. But the prominent among them, those that catch the attention of the seer, are selectively mentioned as the Vibhuti or the attributes of Ishvara. For example, the same Aditya assumes 12 names during 12 months. 12 months make 1 year. Every month the Aditya has got different name. First name is Amshu, second Dhata, third Indra, fourth Aryama, fifth Vivasva, Bhaga, Parjanya, Dvashta, Mitra, Vishnu, Varna and Pusha. These are the 12 names of Adityas. So every month has got a particular aspect of Aditya coming into play. So the Aditya of January is called Vishnu, who is very much liked by the people for his commencing his course towards the summer solstice, progressively dispelling the pinching cold of winter. In the Vishnu Sahasranama, 258th name is Vishnu, attributed to the sun god, traversing the universe. Vishnu himself has become Surya Narayana. Among the Maruts or wind gods, Marichi is the foremost. The wind causes immense good to the world. The best of the wind gods is therefore identified with Ishvara. The luminary of the day is the sun. The foremost among the luminaries at night is the moon. These two heavenly bodies are therefore viewed with veneration as the manifestation and manifest representatives of Ishvara. Verse 22. Vedanam Samavedosmi Devanam Asmi Vasvaha Indriyanam Manaschasmi Bhutanam Asmi Chetana. Among the Vedas, I am the Samveda. I am Indra among the gods. Among the senses, I am the mind. And I am intelligence among living beings. The idea is whatever that is best that we see, it is nothing but the glory of the God. One of the names attributed to Vishnu is Samaga, which means the chant of the Samaveda. Among the 4 Vedas, Saman is the one best set to music. It is therefore enchanting even to those who cannot understand it. Thought of God comes to all who chant or hear it. It is verily the glory of God. Whenever they take the deity in procession during the festival of the deities in temples, the chariot is taken outside, the presiding deity is kept in the chariot, and the long procession proceeds on the road. In front of the road, there are the Pandits who keep on chanting all the Vedas, Samveda, Yajurveda, Rigveda and so on. So thought of God comes to all who chant or hear it. It is really the glory of God. Vasava is another name of Indra, the Lord of the Devas. By sheer merit, the deserving ones raised to this position, and all merits are the glories of God. The functioning of all the 5 senses becomes purposeless when the mind wanders away from them. The ways of the absent-minded man verify this position very clearly. Mind being the recorder of all the sensations is reckoned as an attitude of the Lord. The difference between the living and the dead is in the presence or otherwise of consciousness. The more evolved the being, the clearer is the consciousness. Ultimately, the pure consciousness gets equated with God. As wealth distinguishes the wealthy man, these glories reveal the Lord. Verse number 23. Rudranam Shankarashchasmi Vittesho Yakshrakshasam Vasunam Pavakaschasmi Menuhu Shidrinamaham. O Arjun, among the Rudras I am Shankara. Among Yakshas and Rakshasas I am the Kubera. Among the Vasus I am fire. And among the 7 mountains I am the Meru. So Sri Krishna is telling all the divine manifestations. The idea is you can meditate upon any of these glories and move forward in spiritual life. He is telling, among the Rudras I am Shankara. The Rudras are 11 in number. Ajukapada, Ahirbudnya, Veerabhadra, Girisha, Shankara, Aparajita, Hara, Ankaraka, Pinaki, Bhaga and Shambhu. These are the 11 Rudras. The cosmic function of the Rudras is to make people cry. True to the etymological meaning of this word, crying of people in particular is always for gain, either in prayers or shreyas. The characteristic of the Rudras is to make them cry for shreyas. Shankara among these 11 is a doer of good, as his name indicates. Through distress, he takes the sadhaka's direct God word. Spiritual anguish purifies people very quickly. Yakshas and Rakshasas, they belong to the celestials. Yakshas of these two groups are very fond of acquiring wealth, and Rakshasas of hoarding it. Both of these battalions serve their king Kubera, the lord of fabulous wealth. Whoever among men strives for on right lines and saves money becomes a Kubera in his own way. Though of a transitory nature, wealth wields power in its own way and is therefore a glory of God. Then Vasus. The Vasus are 8 in number. They are land, water, fire, air, ether, moon, sun, star, constituting the gross structure of nature. Of these, Pavaka or fire assumes various degrees of warmth and sustains life. The Lord therefore mentions it as his special manifestation. The golden Mount Meru is believed to be the axis around which all the heavenly bodies rotate. But it is an allegorical representation of the Brahmadanda or the spinal cord in the human structure. The science of yoga extols it as a golden, lustrous Sushumna from which all forms of sensation emanate. It is consciousness that gives it its brilliance. As the Devas resort to the Mount Meru of mythological fame, the senses and prana in the human tabernacle are all adherent to the spinal cord. The Lord therefore speaks of it as his special manifestation. Purodasancha Mukyam Mam Vidyapata Brahaspati Senaninam Skanda Sarsamasmi Sagaraha. And among the household priests of kings, O Arjun, know me to be the chief Brahaspati. Among the army generals I am Skanda. Among lakes I am the ocean. That's why it is said, if you take bath in the ocean, it is as good as taking bath in all the holy rivers. The function of the priest is to administer ritualistic worship and a sanctified code of conduct among people. Brahaspati discharges this sacred duty among the devatas, and so he is a deity of great eminence. Seekers of learning and wisdom pay homage to Brahaspati. It is but proper to behold him as endowed with attributes of Ishvara. God can be reached only through right understanding and right execution. These two divine qualities are personified as Ganesha and Skanda, the sons of Shiva. Skanda is the best among the Generalissimo, leading Shiva's hosts to victory over the demons. It is but appropriate that the Lord claims this general as his own embodiment. The ocean suggests the infinitude of the Lord. Merging the mind in its expanse, is a form of the worship of the Almighty. Maharshinam Bhruguram Giram Asmekam Aksharam Yajnanam Japayajñosmi Stavaranam Himalayaha. Of the great rishis, I am Bhrugu, and of words, I am the monosyllable Om. Of sacrifices, I am the sacrifice of silent repetition. Of immovable things, I am the Himalaya. So all these verses are very simple. There is not much to explain. Maharshis are purified sages through their austerity and wisdom. They preach knowledge to the mankind. They are exemplified sages through their knowledge, devotion and spiritual power. Among them, Bhrigu stands foremost in the glory of divine. Then Lord Krishna says, of words I am the monosyllable Om. Om stands for the truth and the source of all words. Sri Ramakrishna also tells in the Gospel, Om is Saguna Brahma and Nirguna Brahma. He is both. He is Nirguna Brahma as well as Saguna Brahma. In Patanjali Yoga Sutra it is said, Tasya Vachakav Pranava. Lord's word is Pranava. It is a symbol of Parameshvara and essence of Vedas. In chapter 8, verse 13 of Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Om Ityekaksharam Brahma. The monosyllable Om is Brahman. And this Om is called Atma Mantra. Just repeating the Om itself is enough to realize the divine. But taking the divine form, going to images, symbols, makes the aspirant easy to proceed in spiritual path. According to different temperaments, people can choose, and according to what the Guru says, the disciple can follow. Then, of yajnas and the japa yajna. In Manu Dharma Smriti it is said, Vidhyajnan japa yajno vishishto dharma gunihi upamshasya chatur gunaha sahasro manasa smritaha. This japa yajna, that is repeating the divine name, is 10 times superior to ritualistic yajnas. They do in the temples, they invoke the fire god and do homas, etc. Here it is said, japa yajna, that is repeating God's name, is 10 times superior to ritualistic yajnas. Then comes whispering divine name is 100 times superior. Mental japa yajna is 1000 times superior. Japa, or the repetition of name of God, is an effective form of worship. Its excellence lies in the fact that it requires no sacrifice of animals and no costly accessories which are generally needed in other forms of sacrifice. Manu says, whatever else the Brahmana may or may not do, he attains salvation by japa alone. That's why many people would devote their whole time into Gayatri japa. And there are people who had realized Gayatri by repeating Gayatri. Japa clears the mind and makes it steady. It is said, Puja Koti Samastotram Stotra Koti Samam Japaha. One chanting of divine hymn, Stotra, is equal to 1 crore times of worship. Japa is equal to 1 crore times of chanting divine hymn. Other sacrifices prescribed by sacred scriptures are performed with much formalities involving the expenditure of huge amount of money. All people cannot easily or capable of doing such sacrifices. Japa yajna, on the other hand, can be easily performed without the necessity of spending money. So, Japa yajna is best. Even Holy Mother used to say, keep on repeating God's name, that itself the greatest sadhana. Mother herself would do several thousand times in a day. Sharda Devi would repeat God's name. So there are ideal setters. They are setting the ideal for us. Sri Krishna describes this as his own form. It is capable of yielding immense benefit. Japa yajna. It washes away accumulated sins of many births and purifies mind. Then, of immovable things I am the Himalayas. One should be stable and steady in spiritual life to face onslaught of temptations and various types of distractions. Mount Himalayas stands for tremendous stability and steadiness, which is therefore the glory of the divine. Verse number 26. Ashwattaha sarvvrukshana devarshina cha narada Gandharvanam Chitrata Siddhanam Kapilomani. Of all the trees, I am the people, and of the divine sages, I am Narad. Of the Gandharvas, I am Chitrata, and of the perfected ones, I am the sage Kapila. So, first thing it tells, of all trees, I am people. People is considered superior to other trees. It is Ashwatha tree. It is said that one who with devotion circumambulates the Ashwatha tree will be freed from sickness and gets his desire fulfilled. The root of this tree, its leaf, flower, fruit, etc. are used for preparing many medicines. From a religious point of view, also, it is considered that this tree is auspicious, pure, and also the abode of all the gods, Ashwatha tree. From a very subtle seed, a huge and vast tree has come up. It indicates that from the Lord of the universe, who is without attributes, this vast universe has come up. This is his glorious power. The devotees bow down to the Ashwatha tree as the embodiment of Trimurti. It is said, Mulato Brahmarupaya Madhyato Vishnurupine Agrataha Shivarupaya Shashvataya Namo Namaha. At the top it is Brahma, in the middle it is Vishnu, and at the root it is Shiva. In Skanda Purana it is said, Mule Vishnu Sthito Nityaskande Keshava Evacha Narayanastu Shakasu Patreshu Bhagavan Harihi Palochito Nasandeha Sarvadevahi Samastitaha. At the top it is Vishnu, in the root it is Keshava, in the branches it is Narayan, in the leaves it is Lord Hari, and in the fruit it is Achyuta. So it is without doubt that Ashwatha tree is the abode of gods. So much sacredness is said about Ashwatha tree. Of the divine saints, I am Narada. Narada is an extraordinary devotee of the Lord. He always keeps singing glories of God and keep traveling all over the universe, spreading spiritual ideas and preaching about devotion and divine knowledge. The boy Dhruva, through the power of initiation by Narada, got illumination in 165 days. Young Prahlada, through initiation by Narada, was able to see the Lord in the pillar. So Krishna says, among the sages I am Narada. Of the Gandharvas I am Chitraratha. Chitraratha is very famous in singing and acting, and he is very handsome and beautiful. Of the perfected ones, I am the sage Kapila. Siddha means perfected ones. They are those endowed with birth onwards. They are endowed from birth onwards with righteousness, wisdom, dispassion and overlordship. A Muni is he who is constantly establishing the Bhayagya. Sage Kapila is one endowed with all these virtues. He is the author of the Sankhya system of philosophy. Further, he is held to be an incarnation of Vishnu. Verse number 27. Uchchai Sausamashvana Vidyamam Mrutodhvam Airavatam Gajendrana Naranancha Naradipam. Of horses know me to be Uchchaishavas, born of nectar. Of lordly elephants, I am the Airavata, and of men, I am the monarch. Mythology speaks elaborately of the churning of the ocean of milk by Devatas and Asuras to get nectar from it. The horse Uchchaishavas and the elephant Airavata, along with several other high beings and great things, came out of that unique undertaking. But this event is an allegorical statement of the eternal process of the good and bad people, jointly churning the ocean of life to obtain happiness through wealth, learning and prosperity. A monarch born with royal excellence is regarded as spark of the divinity, come in the human form. The best of the horses, the best of the elephants and the best of the human are indeed the manifestation of the divine glory of the Lord. Verse number 28. Ayudhanamaham vajram devannamasmi kamaduk vajanashchasmi kandarpaha sarpanamasmi vaspahi. Of weapons, I am thunderbolt. Of cows, I am the wish-fulfilling cow called Surabhi. I am the progenitor, the god of love, and of the serpents, I am Vasuki. Thunderbolt, that is, the Vajra is made of Dadichi's bone, which was used by Indra to vanquish the invincible Vritrasura. Kamadhenu, wish-fulfilling cow called Surabhi, that cow of Vasishta, which yielded all the objects desired, or any cow in general, which will yield plenty of milk. So that's why in Hindu tradition, we worship the cows as veritable God himself. But such noble ideas are to be cultivated, otherwise people misuse it in different way. So like that, the glory of God is given in different ways, and he is clearly telling, among the cows, he is the milking cow. So one should treat the cow as veritable God itself. Let us continue next Tuesday. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramarandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Let us offer our salutation to Lord Krishna, the embodiment of bliss, who came to establish Dharma and punish the wicked. Peace, peace, peace be to all.